Greetings and welcome to our first ever episode of D.E.C.I.D.E. Now, before we get into what our episode is about, I will have to note that this is not going to be like our future episodes. First of all, we're not doing this in a studio. This is me doing it at home in my apartment off my webcam. So the video and audio quality is going to be less than what is expected. Second, this video is going to be done as a single recording, no editing. So if I make a mistake, you will see it, and hopefully I will catch it and be able to correct it in a timely manner to prevent any confusion. Okay, that being said, let's get into today's episode. Recently on the internet, a certain meme has been running around, and that meme is shown on your screen at the moment. This formula being shown is basically saying negative 5 squared will equal negative 5. We're going to test if this is true. So, okay, let's get to work. Bring up a calculator, clear the calculator out. So it is saying negative 5 raised to the power of 2 equals negative 25. Hey, it's correct. Wait a minute. This isn't correct. It looks correct, but look at what's being said. Look at the actual formula being written. 0 minus 5 to the power of 2, 0 minus 5 squared, equals negative 25. This is mathematically correct. The way it's written up here, where it shows negative 5 squared, is also technically correct, because you don't technically have to write the 0 if it has no effect on the formula. It technically does, but that's a lot of technicality. So let's ignore that. So minus 5 squared equals negative 25. This is true. The problem is when you read the minus 5 squared, you read it negative 5. It's negative 5 squared. The proper way to read it is either A, minus 5 squared, or B, negative of 5 squared. These will both be valid in giving the answer of negative 25 as shown on the screen. However, we want the actual formula, minus 5 squared, to appear on our calculator. So let's get our second calculator out. Yeah, there we go. Already cleared for us. Great. So we're going to say not minus 5. We're going to see this little plus minus button down here? This means positive negative. We're going to go 5, make it negative, raised to the power of 2 equals negative 5 squared. This is exactly what it means here. We'll even bring it back up. Negative 5 squared. Yeah. Okay, as I said, there's a goof here. There we go. Negative 5 squared, as you can see, that is the formula being put in question. And this is coming out positive 25. So, what exactly is happening here? Yeah, there you go. What exactly is happening here? What's happening is the difference between a negative of 5, as written here, and as shown on this calculator. This is the negative of 5. This one is saying negative 5. This is the single value, negative 5. This is a function, then the value 5 squared. Big difference. These are both correct. So how do we end this argument of which one is the right answer? Well, take a look back up at this area, this formula. Minus 5 squared equals, wait a minute, the minus and the negative are different. Let's test this part out. So we already have it on the calculator. Minus 5 squared equals negative 25. let's go and do this negative 25 and square it. Negative 25 squared. Now, if this comes out negative, then this entire side, what they believe, is obviously correct. It came out positive. How do you go from a negative being squared being negative to that negative being squared becoming positive? Once again, it's because the initial formula is minus 5 squared equals negative 25. This is the negative of 5. This one is negative 5, a single value. Okay. Hopefully that clears up some confusion, and normally we would end it right here. I mean, it's pretty clear, at least to me. However, I've been talking to some of these people online, and they're, well, this answer cannot be correct because that's not the way businesses do it. This one guy actually gave me examples. He went, okay, so building, I assume he means construction. So we'll go construction, demolitions, pharmacy, accounting, and even NASA don't use this method. Well, let's look at why. So let's clear these all off the screen. There we go. So in building, in construction, when you're given a negative value, they're talking about either coordinates on a coordinate system, or they're talking about measurements. A negative measurement is, if a positive and negative measurement is to the right, the negative is to the left. You're still going, if you're going right 5 spaces and you want to go left, you say negative 5. And you go left 5 spaces. When you square that, you're squaring these spaces you're going to the left, not squaring left. Bit confusing, but right is positive, left is negative. So when you say a negative 5 written down, you're saying left 5 spaces. You're not saying go negative 5 spaces. You're saying go left 5 spaces. Okay? So, okay, don't know anything about demolitions or pharmacy. I mean, I have a small clue. Don't know them. Not going to say anything on them. I'll just mess things up. However, in accounting, the other big one is accounting. In accounting, we have positives, negatives, etc. Okay, you do simple math, it all goes through and everything balances out in the end. Or at least you hope it do for your company. The thing is, a positive number is shown in black. A negative number will never show negative than the number. It will show the positive number in red text. This is because the value of the loss is positive. It's just this positive value is hurting you. Thus, well, you're bleeding. It's red. So when you total up all of your bonuses, all of your benefits, all of your credits, that's going to be your positive column. Then you total up all of your debits, everything that's hurting your company, that's going to be negative. You subtract the positive from the positive credits from your debits. The final number will show that the total is either positive or negative. Nowhere else other than when you put in the actual amount in mathematical equation will you see a negative value. The values shown in red are positive values. They are, let's think of another way to say this. A credit is something that you have a positive amount of. The debit is something you have a positive debt of, or a value that you owe a positive amount. This owe and debt equates to the negative symbol, which people are saying, well, this is what's being done. Okay. So, final one for what he said was NASA doesn't use this. They do and they don't. Confusing. Okay. For this one, let's bring the calculator back up. So, if I wanted to say, instead of just -5 squared, we want 5 plus -5 squared. So let's clear this out. We click it, bring it up. See, we're already making mistakes. So we say 5, click the plus key. So 5 plus -5 squared. Now this should equal -20. It does. This fits what they're all saying. Because if you subtract 5 from the two formulae, from the two sides of the formula, it becomes -5 squared equals -25. This is perfectly fine. This is correct. This is how things work. However, look at the formula again. Now remember, I said we want 5 plus -5 squared. This formula is showing 5 minus 5 squared. Everyone saw me hit the plus key. Here, I'll even do it again. We go 5 plus -5 squared. There we go. What happened to that plus key? There's mathematical explanations. Whenever the plus and minus are next to each other, it reverses the whatever. That's just the way it is. But I want the actual formula, 5 plus -5 squared. So let's take a look at it. Bring up this calculator, clear it out. So we go 5 plus 5 made negative. Remember, you hit the positive negative key, not the minus key. You want the negative value. Then we do to the power of 2 equals positive 30. Completely different answer. Why? Because it is a completely different problem. Again, this one over here is saying 5 minus 5 squared. This one over here is saying 5 plus -5 squared. -5 is a single value. Okay, now I know a lot of you are getting tired of listening to me basically repeat the same thing over and over in different ways. So let's do one more before we all go crazy here. Bring this up, drop that. So, as you can see in this image here, and the image up in the upper left, I'm going to have to get used to that sooner or later. So this image up here in the upper left-hand corner, right-hand corner, left-hand? Left-hand. So, -5 squared is not equal to -5 squared. That's because the formula on the left is a function, a value, then another function. This is saying the negative of 5 squared. This negative of 5 squared will give you the will give you this, the negative, clear it all out. Negative of 5 squared will give you the -25. Okay. The second one here, with a purple and blue circle, it's saying -5 as a single value. And then the function of being squared. That's this one over here on the right side, where it's -5 squared equals 25. The difference being the function, value function versus value and function alone. You guys catch the difference? The way people are doing this is They're using an extra function when that function isn't always there. Okay, still kind of confusing. So let's look at one final piece of evidence. Hopefully this is actually the final piece of evidence. There, bring you back up. Okay, so here we have two correct, don't know what happened there. I'll have to change this up a little bit. There we go. So here we have the two formulas. Negative of 5 squared equals negative 25, and negative 5 squared equals positive 25. What is the written difference? Well, take a look at the symbols. Here we have a minus symbol connected to 5 squared. Here, down here, we have the negative symbol. Please note, minus is centered on the number. This is minus 5 squared, or negative of 5 squared. This down here is saying negative 5. It's saying the 5 is already negative. But they look pretty similar. Well, let's take a look at this. We'll take this up, put it over, and the negative symbols don't match up. This is because they are different. When you actually write negative 5 squared, this lower one is the correct way to write it. Because negative 5 squared will be a positive number. Negative of 5 squared will be a negative number. Calculators do not show this difference. For a calculator to show this difference, it's input. The output will look the same. The input for negative of is the minus symbol. The input for negative 5 is this positive negative symbol down here. That's the difference. So, in ending, whenever you see clear everything. Whenever you see a meme such as this, ask them to read it to you aloud. If they read it as negative 5 squared, they are talking about this lower option. If they're saying negative of 5 squared, or negative 5 squared, or minus 5 squared, then they're talking about the top. Unfortunately, if you don't know the difference between writing negative of 5 and negative 5, there's going to be confusion, there's going to be arguments. Everybody's going to think they're right, you're wrong. The difference is negative of 5 versus negative 5. Well, guess that's it. Hope you all have a good day. If you want to hear about any of the other stuff which me and my compatriots work on, just go to D.E.C.I.D.E up here in this corner. We try to post in a blog as often as we can. Just find something on our site which interests you. Read it. Give us feedback. If you want us to look at something specific, let us know. We'll look it over, decide if it's worth our time, and go through it. Until then, and until next time, have a good day. Goodbye.